Hey there internet, new month, new hairdo, new kind of video. I've never done a book wrap-up video before, and because I've been so bad about making reviews this past month, I decided now would be a good time because I can show you all of the many books I have been reading, and then you guys can let me know down in comments which one of these you want to see reviews of if I haven't made them already. Sound good? Excellent, let's go. First up, I was lucky enough to read a few arcs this past month. The first one was Mortal Heart by LaFevers. This is the final book in his Fair Assassin trilogy. For those of you who have loved this series, don't wait. You're going to love Anne's story. It was awesome. I definitely will be doing a review of this book, but closer to its release date in November. But hold on to your hat, guys. You're going to love this one. I also read a few e-arcs. One of them was Don't Look Away by Donna Cooner. This is about a girl who is a beauty guru on YouTube and finds real life and her online life sort of clashing when her little sister passes away and she doesn't know how to handle her family, and she's also sort of being cyberbullied by the trolls in her comments. I thought it was a good one-time read. I would say if you're a librarian, it's an optional buy if you're a teen librarian. I thought it was interesting. I liked the premise. I only thought it was okay. The other e-arc I am currently reading actually is A.S. King's Gloria O'Brien's History of the Future. This is definitely a feminist book, most like Kurt Vonnegut and all of the things that A.S. King has ever written, and she's a huge Vonnegut fan. It shows here. I'm only about halfway through. I don't know quite how I feel about it yet, but it's finally picking up. It's really starting to get interesting, so I will let you know how that one goes. Now on to books that are actually already out in stores and libraries if you're interested in them. The first up is The Geometry of Love by Jessica Levine. I actually won this one through Goodreads, through their first review contest-y giveaway thing. Not my cup of tea. I tried, just not my thing. Next was Ruin and Rising by Leigh Bardugo. I actually already did do a review of this one. I'll put a link down below. Basically, if you love fantasy, if you love this series, this is one of the most perfect series endings ever. I loved it. I loved it. I cannot say enough great things about this book. Next, we have Irish Fairy and Folktales, which was actually put together, collected, and edited by William Butler Yeats. I read this one because I wanted to sort of get in the spirit before my trip to Ireland and England that I was just on last week, and it definitely put me in the mood. It was funny about this collection is that all of the stories in here were new to me, but I think the parts I may have enjoyed the most were Yeats's comments before each section. He has it broken down into solitary fairies, giants, the marrow, changelings, and before each of the story sections, he writes a little blurb about like what these creatures are and the beliefs about them. It very much reminded me of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, so I thought this collection was charming. It definitely put me in the right spirit for my trip. Then on the plane over the Atlantic, I reread The Princess Diaries by Meg Cabot. This was actually my original paperback from 2000, and it was so nice to revisit Mia. I love the movies, I loved the books, and so it was like revisiting an old friend. The movies and the books are very, very different, but they're both completely charming, and I never actually finished this series. I started reading it when I was younger, and I never got around to finishing it, so especially since a new installment will be coming out next year, I want to totally absorb Mia's story. It's so cute. You can fly through these in a few hours. Loved it. It was great for the plane ride. Then on the way home from England, my reading selections got a bit more serious with Virginia Woolf's essay, A Room of One's Own. She wrote this in 1928, and it was discussing a lot of the issues that women writers faced during the day, and it's so interesting to me how a lot of the issues she mentioned 90 years ago are still very much relevant today. As a woman, as a writer, as a reader, as a feminist, this book was really, really interesting to me, and I think definitely worth the time to 2014 audiences. I actually can't wait to get back to work and talk about this one with a couple of teachers I know. It's really, really short and really, really interesting, and I'm very interested to see how the issues that Virginia Woolf mentions in here carries over to her fiction writing. I've never read any of her fiction, and now it's definitely shot to the top of my list. Finally, another book that I read on my Nook was The Opposite of Loneliness by Marina Keegan. This was a collection of stories and essays by a young woman who had a very promising future ahead of her. She had graduated from Yale 5 days before she unfortunately passed away. And while her family and friends were in mourning, her final piece for the Yale Daily News, called The Opposite of Loneliness, was going viral online, got over 1 million hits in a matter of days. And so to see the works of this promising young writer who was full of potential, it was a really great collection, definitely worth your time if you're interested in short stories and essays. This woman was incredibly bright, and it's a shame that her star went out so soon, but thankfully there's this piece of her that the rest of us can still learn from and enjoy. So yeah, like 9.5, 10 books this month or something. It's been crazy. So tell me down in comments which one of these sounded interesting to you, which one of these do you want reviews of that I haven't made them yet. All my usual links are down below. Comments are always welcome, and that's it for me for now. Take care. Bye!